And shout out to every other community caster that's with us. It's not just the CranKy Ducklings. We got Steadfast, Biomov, Chicken Man, Dave Testa. Everyone is here. Everyone except !Funada, the Koreans, Into the Inu, and Maddox. The hell? We only have English casters today. Shaking my head.
Yep.
Shaking my
Korean tournament, but you know, just English casters.
Feels bad, man. Feels bad. But here we go. We are here finally in the grand finals, best of 5, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Curious Minds LE. We have the South Korean Terran representing Sidestorm Gaming. It is GuMiho.
And spawning in the top left, showing that he won't get upset as easily as Zest by Nightmare. It is the Korean returner, Alpha X's Classic.
Made it.
Oh, lag?
Oh. Oh no.
Wait, I just DC'd?
No,
Hello?
Oreo, no!
What?
You
My internet's fine.
You DC.
Okay, let me just surrender real quick. Sorry.
Feels bad, man.
What?
Oh god. It's happened.
Okay, I don't get it.
Yeah, it's happened to me before as well, you know. Indie company and all that good stuff. Unfortunately, it looks like Oreo will not be joining me for the first game, but of course I will be able to screen share, so he will be able to cast alongside us. Not as ideal, but it's okay. We can make do. As long as you make sure you restart and be prepared to join us for game 2.
Yeah. That's very odd. I haven't DC'd from a StarCraft game in a long time. I wonder if it's because, I wonder if like my video is really tanking my internet, because I've got a good internet connection. I might just turn off my video until we get between games.
Yep.
Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it. It's all good. Oh boy. Meanwhile, in that little bit of a break, I was able to start predictions. So in the chat, you can place your predictions. Who is going to be this week's champion for ESL Open Cup Asia number 111? As a lot of weeks. Meanwhile, as you were gone, Oreo, we did see Classic scout for a proxy immediately with his probe. He was just making sure nothing crazy was going on. And nothing crazy is going on.
Yep, and looks like he will be able to start harassing the CC, as GuMiho will have to pull another worker down to get his CC up.
Yeah. Just Classic being as annoying as possible. GuMiho will eventually swat this away, as GuMiho does open up with a Marine first, skipping his Reaper, something that's been becoming a little bit more common and popular nowadays in TvP.
Yeah, and I do know that you ideally don't want the Protoss to scout that you went Marine first, since it can often lead into certain openings like 3 racks, for example, which it looks like GuMiho might be going into this game. Yeah, I know that. I think with 3 racks, you just don't want to go Reaper. I think it's really bad because it means you have to mine a lot more gas, which you want to actually pull out of gas when you're going through racks, so you can get enough money to make the barracks. But so we'll see if Classic reads into that and goes for a Twilight, but looks like he's opening Robo.
Yeah, I was a little bit shocked by a couple of things going on. One, as you mentioned, right, GuMiho is going for a 3 racks, and Classic may have that in the back of his mind because of the Marine first. He's going to have to confirm that as the game goes on, but not going for a Stargate or a Twilight and a Robo first is interesting to me. Yeah,
this is like how Protoss has played back before Classic left. You know, going for those 2 or 3 observers into Colossus, like the really standard way that was standard for a long time. But yeah, I'm not sure how this is going to line up against 3 racks. I would guess it's going to be pretty decent because you can just make an Immortal and hold your on 2 bases, but it might be hard to secure a 3rd.
Yeah, we'll see how this plays out, as there we go, Robotics Bay is thrown down, and I'm pretty sure the first Colossus should come out in time, and once the Colossus comes out, it just swats away the Marines, right? Yeah,
I actually remember this is a super blind counter to 3 rack. 2 base Colossus. There's nothing more of a hard counter. Yeah, you're very sad if you go up against this as Terran. So Classic definitely going to be in a good spot here.
Feels bad, man. Classic reading the situation very well. I mean, of course, he confirms the Marine count, so he's able to slowly in his mind figure out what is going on here. And meanwhile, GuMiho hasn't been able to scout a single thing across the map.
Yeah, I think that GuMiho is hiding most of his Marines, so this Marine count could just be making Marines off of the reactor. So Classic doesn't quite know what it is yet, but he can definitely suspect, and now he'll know with the Observer for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. He caught a glimpse of the factory being built and the additional Marines in the main base. So now Classic knows exactly what there is. First Colossus is already on the way, and as long as the control is good, as long as he doesn't, I don't know, miss rally or get caught across the map or something. I was waiting for the rally to change. We've seen far too many Colossus just waddle across the map and die for no reason. Classic is better than that.
Yeah. It often happens in TVZ. You see the Marine walking across the map right after the Reaper because the Terran forgot to change their rally. But looks like there is going to be a move out now with Marauders. Not sure about the Marauders. Usually, I think that it's good, but I think usually you just stay on the Marine count if they go Stargate. But GuMiho doesn't really know what Classic's doing unless he caught vision of the Observer coming in.
Exactly.
Oh, huge snipe!
He stims on forward. He tries to dive on top of that Colossus, and oh my god, he almost does, but barely up.
Oh, this is just a disaster. I don't know if GuMiho killed a single thing here. Maybe he did 2 Stalkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is very, very painful for him.
Jesus. 18 Marines and 1 Marauder for 3 Stalkers, mate.
Yeah, I feel like probably the best move is just to go home, but the Protoss is so much further ahead in tech that you really want to get damage done with the 3 racks against this.
Yeah.
And this is just, yeah, a very, very hard counter build by Classic.
I mean, I don't blame GuMiho. I mean, to be fair, he did almost get the Colossus, right? And maybe there's a world out there where if he did get the Colossus, it'd be like, oh my god, like this is looking good. He gets the Colossus, then maybe he can snowball from there. But alas, that is not this world. Classic holds, he saves everything, and he's looking in a really good place.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm not even sure if it would be worth it if he got the Colossus, because he did lose his entire army.
Yeah.
And this is the weakness of the build lineup as well, is that Classic can just do a timing with 3 Colossus, and I have no idea how GuMiho is going to hold that.
Exactly, he lost the majority of his army already. He is active here, and Classic does spot the army with his probe. He knows it's out of position. He's got a Warp Prism. All of his gateways just finished up as well. My god, 7, 8 gates, and he's just going to walk in.
Yeah, I mean, he stopped probing. He's completely all in now. GuMiho is completely out of position. He's going to start coming home, but I think it's too late.
Yeah, he turns around. The boys are being pulled, but there's almost nothing here at home. There's a single tank on the high ground, and to be fair, the tank is dishing out a lot of damage, but at the same time, 18, 19 plus SCVs have fallen.
Yeah, and I think this is it for GuMiho. Catching him completely out of the map.
Yeah, exactly. Everything here at the Natural has fallen. I mean, there are a couple of Marauders, there's some nice cheeky micro, and one of the Colossus does get picked up, which is something, and GuMiho can hold on to his main base. But we have more warp-ins. eBays are about to be sniped. Like it's over, man.
Yeah, as he's starting to probe up, he knows that he's got this game in the bag.
That was just a little bit unlucky there by GuMiho that he was read as easily as he was. Shout out to Classic though for being able to, I guess, come up with a counter to something that he maybe was aware that GuMiho was going for. Maybe it was kind of a guess, and it just worked out so well for him.
Yeah, it's very possible that Classic has played against GuMiho enough on ladder that he knows that if GuMiho goes Marine first, that 9 times out of 10 it's going to be a 3 racks. Because definitely an insanely uncommon build from Classic as well. Like nobody opens like that unless they're specifically trying to blind counter 3 racks.
Exactly. And with that, he does counter it. GG Classic does take the 1-0 lead in this grand finals. And now we're getting ready.
Server? I'm coming.
Wait, why? You're not in Asia?
I don't know what happened.
It's okay.
Okay, I'm here.
It's all good.
Can you invite me? I don't think I saw the lobby link.
Oh,
unless it's been posted yet.
It hasn't been posted yet. It's okay.
Okay.
Oh boy.
I might just leave my camera off for the duration of the series just because I fear that might have been the cause.
That's all good. That's all good. We're ready for such a situation. We got our lovely placeholder image ready for you. Beautiful, beautiful. Here we go. Diving into game number 2. This time with Oreo in game.
Amazing.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Man, it really has to happen at the worst time.
Yeah.
It could have just happened during a ladder game and it would have been like no big deal, but oh well.
It's all good. It's all good. No, it didn't happen like in the middle of a fight or any kind of micro-intensive situation, so it's okay. It's okay. It didn't affect the players. Thankfully, anyway. Thankfully. As we are diving into game number 2 and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Blackburn ALE, we have our Korean Terran representing Storm Gaming, currently down in this series, but it's okay. It's a best of 5. Still plenty of games to go. It is GuMiho. Are you with me?
Yeah, sorry. In the bottom right, sorry, I was just talking to my mom. In the bottom right, the red Protoss blind countering 3x in the last game. It's Alpha X's classic. Sorry about that.
I was like, did he DC again? Oh god. Not like this.
And
god.
Classic scouting around for proxies again. He's not gonna be caught by any proxy Reaper shenanigans.
He's been very vigilant with his initial scouting probe both games so far. I wonder if at any point in this series he'll actually come across a proxy. We'll see.
Yeah, and GuMiho actually scouting quite early on his own. I think it was a 17 scout. So we'll have to see if this is for a second proxy, like for a second barracks, or if it's just for a scout. But looks like it's just going to be the scout here.
Yeah, he's about to rock up. Unfortunately, not early enough for anything like an eBay block or anything like that. And we don't see a Reaper behind this. Once again, we do see a Marine first from GuMiho.
Yeah, and actually Classic going for Nexus before Core, which means that GuMiho is going to know that it's going to be very okay for him to skip the bunker here. There's not going to be any really fast adepts or anything like that.
Exactly. Well, this probe is finally going to get sniped in the main base. And yeah. I mean, it's really cool that Classic was able to get away with that faster Nexus. I imagine that if that wasn't the case, and if it was a Cybercore first, then maybe GuMiho would have been able to block the natural.
Yeah, maybe just for a little bit. But yeah, there's Stargate from Classic. I'm interested that he makes it in the natural. I'm guessing it's because it'd be too easy to scout if he makes it in the main, since the Reaper can just pop up. And maybe the Reaper is less likely to come up if you put the Adept at the top of the ramp here.
Yeah.
But it is just going to be a Marine first from GuMiho, so no Reapers here.
Yeah, it's interesting as well because Classic did scout the Marine coming out of the racks. So the throwing down the Stargate wasn't necessarily for the Reaper, but maybe it's just, maybe he's just used to it. Maybe it's just a stylistic thing. And
there is always the chance that, I have seen some Terrans that go Marine into Reactor double Reaper, for example. That's a pretty common build, so there's still the possibility of a Reaper, but not this time.
Not this time. The Adept comes across the map, confirms the amount of Marines here already, and I'm gonna try and do some damage, but shouldn't get any of these workers.
Yeah, it should get out. No, it's gonna get picked off, but at least it sees that there's Hellions on the way, which is a very important scout for Classic here.
Exactly. We're not seeing a 3 racks, just like game number 1. We do see GuMiho switching things up here as he's pushing out across the map, also getting ready for a Widowmine drop.
Yeah, and it's interesting that GuMiho actually opened the same way with the Marine first, but Classic changing up his style, knowing that GuMiho is very unlikely to go into 3 racks after that kind of game, because, if you go Stargate against 3 racks, it's actually very painful, but oh no. Classic actually has an Adept stuck next to his gateway. So he's only going to have
No.
one adept here for the defense, but the Oracles are in position, so he shouldn't lose too much.
Yeah, feels bad, man. I mean, the Oracles were in the middle of moving out. If both adepts are here, maybe the Oracles wouldn't have been necessary, but now they're forced to stay at home. They will clean all this up, but oh my god, the probes lined up.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. Very rare that you lose 4 workers to 2 aliens like that from just the 2 shots, but 6 workers is pretty painful for Classic here. Definitely all comes down to that adept being stuck in the main.
Exactly. If it wasn't for that, he would have been able to clean this up. Arguably, he would have been able to finally get across the map with his Oracles. What's important as well is that GuMiho actually sniped one of the Oracles, which is insane with those Marines, with the vanilla Marines.
There was barely enough Oracles Marines to fight the Oracle. An Oracle can usually fight 4 Marines and win, but there was 5 Marines there, so no chance that an Oracle could kill those alone, and that's what we saw.
Yeah, so Classic maybe miscalculating a little bit there, and now with only a single Oracle, the potential for counter damage in a mineral line isn't anywhere near as high. So instead, he backs off, takes another base, as we do have that Widowmine drop. Oh! No!
Oh! So many workers going down. That is so painful. At the same time, Classic's committing into the natural of GuMiho with Adepts and a Stalker. He hasn't actually killed many workers yet, but yeah, that's gonna be it.
GG. The Widowmine drop is all he needed, and just like that, Classic taps out. And you have to, because he lost an entire mineral line. What was that? 15 probes. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, that is painful. I guess he was focusing so much on the counter-attack that he wanted to do with the Adepts and the Oracles that he just wasn't looking.
Yeah. Feels bad, man. Things were looking okay for Classic, then suddenly it was like a domino effect. Everything was going wrong, you know, the push came in, Adepts were out of position, probes are going down to the main base to Hellions, and the Oracle dying. It was,
yeah.
It's brutal, man. It's brutal.
Yeah, and it really came down to the fact that 2 Hellions got in, and they were both 1 hit away from dying. And if that Adept had just been there to hit at extra time, then we wouldn't have seen the 4 probes lost. We wouldn't have seen Classic kind of put into disarray by that attack, and maybe he would have caught the mine drop.
Oh my god. And sometimes that's all it takes, you know. I'm sure Starduck, he's probably playing Kerrigan Survival 2 while having this on his second monitor, and he's like, yep.
Starduck's rolling in his grave.
Yeah, it's like TvP unwinnable.
Yep.
Oh god. PvT unwinnable even, but feels bad, man. Feels bad. But with that, here we go. We are now getting into game number 3, and this player here was able to tie up the series 1-1. Our Korean Terran representing Psy Storm Gaming, it is GuMiho.
And in the top right, taking a lot of damage to the mine drop. Now down 1-2 in the series, I believe. Wait, is it 1-1 or 1-2? No, 1-1. Yeah, sorry. Tying up the series. It's the Red Protoss Classic.
I'm sure Protoss players in the chat can relate. They can be like, yep. You know, just at the wrong moments, you're just not paying attention to your mini-map, to your mineral line, and just like that, the Widowmines suddenly end the game.
Yeah. I do like that Classic is going for this probe scout every game. I guess against a player like GuMiho, where maybe you expect some more aggressive styles, it's a good idea. So you don't really need to have the probe on the other side of the map straight away.
Yeah, he's just making sure he's safe and secure, and you know, GuMiho isn't able to take out like a cheeky win or anything like that. So, you know, Classic always on top of that scout. This time not going for an earlier Nexus. This time going for a Cyber first. Or Gate Cyber, and yeah, making a lot more standard.
Yeah, and GuMiho are actually opening Reaper this time for the first time in the series, and his CC isn't actually going to get blocked either, so he should be very happy about this.
Oh boy, so we're going to be seeing something a little bit different here from GuMiho for the time being. Classic also dipped in, but wasn't able to necessarily confirm what was coming out of the racks, so he's a little bit more in the dark compared to the previous games. And Yeah, we'll see how this goes.
Yeah. And it looks like it's going to be a really normal opening from GuMiho here. No 3 racks, just going to add the factory and the extra marine. No gas taken yet, though. Oh, the bunker's going to get put down because it is a core first, of course.
Just playing it safe. Doesn't want
exactly.
Yeah, doesn't want his CC to be delayed or anything like that. To any kind of adept coming across the map, as the adept is already out. Reaper will get across the map and confirm all of this, confirm the timing of the Nexus.
Yeah, and Classic's just gonna have to leave the natural for a bit with the probes, but not too much damage done here by the Reaper.
And once again, 2 games in a row now, Classic is going for that Stargate.
Yeah, and this time at this location, the Reaper will see that it's Stargate, so that's very good knowledge. The Reaper does get picked off though, which is nice for Classic for sure.
Yeah, it was really cool of Classic to box the Reaper in, but unfortunate that the Reaper was able to scout anyway. Like, he got what he needs, or he achieved what he needed to do. He was able to scout that Stargate, and now he can start preparing at home and, again, ensure that Oracles don't get too much damage done.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate that GuMiho already committed to the Hellion, because I think ideally versus Stargate, you don't even get the Hellion, you just get a really fast Cyclone and Viking. But of course he saw it too late to cancel the Hellion, so it's going to be a little bit bad for GuMiho that that's the case, but since he knows he started the Cyclone, started the Viking, he's going to be fine against any Oracle pressure.
Yeah, he should be fine.
Should be fine, but yeah.
The Oracle is going to get across the map, and the Cyclone isn't done yet. The Viking needs a couple more seconds, so some workers are going to go down.
Yeah, but Classic can't commit too long, because the Viking can kill it quite quickly, but it will get out. Because fun fact, did you know that Vikings do bonus damage to Oracles?
Oh my god, really?
Yeah, I know. Crazy fact of the day, Vikings do bonus damage to Armored with their anti-air attack, and Oracles are not light, they're Armored.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why the hell are they armored?
I don't know. You just don't, you don't experience that, because I think the only unit that does bonus damage to armored air units is Vikings.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, with that, at least Classic is able to keep his Oracle alive. He comes back home, setting up some stasis wards. Sure, he got 2 worker kills, but that's, it could have been worse. At least GuMiho was able to, for the most part, deflect it.
Yeah, and GuMiho going for a 2-1-1 follow-up, which is very interesting. I think we've been seeing this a lot more lately, where instead of just committing to the 3 racks, which usually is a bit later, you drop the barracks, Terrans get a much faster second barracks so they can pump out a lot of Marines and put on pressure earlier than the Protoss expects.
Exactly. I mean, Stim is already more than halfway done. We have a 3rd Rax on the way as well. I think what's interesting is that he's also complementing this with another mine drop. But the Oracle gets sniped, which means that's going to be less vision that Classic has out on the map.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Classic did see the 2 racks play, so he should know mostly what to expect. He doesn't know if it was 3 racks, but it's going to be a 3 racks follow-up here with mines, as you said, with a mine drop. Very interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. We do have the Stalkers moving out across the map. Blink is about to finish up, but that also means that there isn't a lot at home to defend. Even this one lone Hellion from the start of the game is actually going to get some damage done.
Yeah, it's a lot of mining time lost. I think he killed a probe too, so very nice. Oh, and he also triggers the stasis, which is very nice for him.
Exactly. The Hellion's able to survive a little bit longer. The Stalkers, they move out across the map once again, and now in come those Widow Mines.
Yeah, and GuMiho actually made an armory with this too, so these mines are going to be completely undetected. I don't know if there's an observer on the map. There's no robo, and the Oracle is dead. He's not going to have any detection.
No, not again! No!
Oh! 6 probes go down. Could have been worse, but it definitely could have been a lot better.
It really could have. Meanwhile, again, Blink is done. There are no tanks, so there is an opportunity for Classic to get some damage done. He does get the bunker. The repairs were not fast enough.
Yeah, the problem is there's already stim done, so you don't even need the tank to defend these Stalkers, as GuMiho takes the 3rd base on location.
Yeah, that he does. At the same time, the Widow Mines are about to re-trigger. Up.
And remember, this whole time, Classic hasn't actually made an Oracle. He's just got his robo halfway done, so these mines are going to get another shot off by each, and there's still no mining being done at the natural.
Yeah, exactly. Classic is being pulled apart. Finally, he starts and he's chronoing out an Oracle. He needed to do this sooner. He didn't recognize the fact that, hey, there was an armory and these are undetected, and it looks like another shot's going to go off. Classic!
Oh, Classic! Oh, he does pull away just to the right second, so... The mine will reposition, but the probes are running, and the Stalkers should be able to pick it off. Okay.
Thank
And the Oracle's out after the mines have already been taken out.
At least it's finally out. Meanwhile, in comes GuMiho. Stim is done. +1 is done as well. He doesn't have too many of these Marines, and he only has 2 medevacs with this army, so it looks like he won't be able to force his way in, but at the same time, we have another drop into the main.
Yeah, and good pull from Classic. He will dodge the mines. Oh, 7 workers. No! Oh my god. He was focusing too much on the fight at the front, and he loses 15 workers because GuMiho recognizes that he can just reposition the mines.
Yeah.
Wow.
Feels...
I mean, yeah. At the same time, GuMiho's army did get taken out at the front, which is nice for Classic, but that's so many workers dying.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that is so brutal and well worth it for GuMiho. What's also important is that he kept all of his medevacs alive.
He doesn't recognize that there's still a mine in the natural. It's gonna go off again. Oh, another 7 workers.
And Carowin says Widow Mines don't need a nerf. Like, what's...
Yeah.
Oh god, feels bad, man. Feels bad. I mean, Classic finally he's kind of reclaimed control of his side of the map, of his bases, but oh my god, this game he has lost 32 probes.
Yeah, and I guess the only reason that the supplies are as even as they are is because the army of GuMiho was cleaned up very nicely at the front without too much losses for Classic, but he's still in a bad spot, as he will catch the mine drop at least.
Look at that. This time he is in position. This time he shuts down the mine drop. But it was only 2 Widow Mines. GuMiho, he's still looking pretty good when it comes to the worker count. Pretty good though. We're at an equal worker count. Surprisingly, there is no 4th. Oh no, there we go. 4th base is being thrown down on location.
But then at the same time, GuMiho is up 2 upgrades currently, as Classic recognizes this and drops 2 forges to try and catch up, which is pretty huge. These zealots are gonna melt to the kiting bio. As he scans the main and sees it's completely undefended.
Oh no, there's nothing here in the main base. Forces a recall, and it looks like the recall should be enough to defend here in the main. Robot gets picked off though.
I don't even know if this is enough Stalkers to defend here, but GuMiho will leave now as the mines get cleaned up and 1 lone Marauder is left behind.
At the same time, it looks like a War Prism gets into the main base, but the Zealots were cleaned up. There were plenty of reinforcements at home to defend. GuMiho's going to try and hit this 3rd base, and it looks like he may get into the middle lane. No, he doesn't go for it.
Yeah, and the 4th base is being put on location as the Prism goes to the 3rd base of GuMiho to try and get more damage, and yeah, this game is starting to get a bit crazy as lots of Zealots warped in at the 3rd base. They're going to start to take out workers.
Oh yeah, now finally SCVs are getting picked off, but the reinforcements are good enough here for GuMiho to clean this up. War Prism has to be careful, otherwise it's going to get picked up. It looks like just barely it'll get in between in that dead space. Uh-oh.
Yeah, and now GuMiho's got 2 Vikings to clean it up, so that'll be it. War Prism's another unit that take bonus damage from Vikings.
Vikings are just so good, mate. They just deal bonus damage to everything. Oh my god.
Exactly. It's crazy how many air units are armored that you think are light. Like in my mind, Prisms and Oracles and Medevacs are light, but they're all armored. Because it's just an interaction you never think about is like armored versus air.
Yeah. Oh god. But for the most part, it does look like Classic has now finally stabilized, right? He's working on 1-1. He's, you know, the drops aren't able to get into his bases, and he has Storm. We haven't seen it come into play, but the upgrade did finish.
Yeah, so it looks like it's pretty unlikely the Classic is going to die anytime soon, but he's 40 supply down. He's still down 2 upgrades. He's about to even... Oh, he's actually down 3 upgrades right now.
Yeah, +3 is about to finish up.
Yeah.
As well.
There's already ghosts on the way for the Templar. It's definitely looking really rough here.
Exactly. Like, because of all these High Templar, because of all these Storm, like, there's still a world where Classic could even win a head-on engagement. But as you were pointing out, it's all about the EMPs and the ghosts. 5 ghosts being produced at a time. Jesus Christ. But they're not here. They're not here yet.
Yeah, and GuMiho's actually got a flank set up in case Classic commits too hard on this small army, and he's going to come in now. But the storms are ready, so yeah, GuMiho definitely has to be careful. Huge storms on the left side.
Yeah, beautiful storms there. GuMiho, his entire army gets evaporated, but at the same time, GuMiho, he's looking to push into the natural. Classic is completely out of position.
Yeah, Classic just doesn't have enough army to be in both spaces while not losing a head-on fight. There's actually a lot of Templar in the main already. I don't think there even was a recall there, so... Huh? Oh, but the other main is undefended.
the head Templar, they were forced to move to the natural, and they open up the main, and now we have that massive Doom Drop. Storms are still connecting, but damage regardless is being done.
Yeah, Tenberg is going down, and at the same time, GuMiho is pressuring the front. Now that all the army has gone out of position, he's going to start to kill workers at the 4th base. As Warpins come in, they should be able to hold it, but... I mean, GuMiho's lost a lot here. His supply is actually below Classics by quite a large amount.
True.
I'm not sure if this was the most efficient way to do this.
Yeah, as you said, he threw away a lot of supply there. Like, you know, when arguably he could have waited for these ghosts. He could have waited for the potential of EMP to join his army.
I mean, he was 50 supply up before those engagements, and now he's 10 supply down. So, super inefficient trades from GuMiho. At least he already had his 4th base up, so he's still going to be mining well, and he's definitely still ahead in this game. But, yeah, I'm not sure if that was just a big throw there.
Yeah, it kind of was. Like, the longer this goes on, Classic, he's getting Colossus up, you know? He still doesn't have extended thermal lance, but at least he's diversifying his AoE. Like, again, his main army is looking better and better.
Yeah, and there's no big Viking count to deal with these Colossus, so I don't know if GuMiho is going to have another window to break the 4th base at least, but he will go for a huge drop, including all the ghosts, but Classic actually repositioning his whole army to his main base.
Yeah, I think he's reading this a little bit. Like, he has some army here in the main base. He has High Templar for feedbacks, maybe even Storms. He has split up between his 4th and his main.
Yeah, as there's no drilling claws on these mines, so they will get picked off quite quickly. As the Doom Drop comes to the main, there's so much in position, it's not going to be able to get anything done.
Yeah, thankfully there's not a lot of anti-air, and GuMiho, okay, he spots the army, he's like, nope. I don't want to go into that. But again, that means that Classic, for all intents and purposes, he's stabilized. Like, he's in this.
Yeah. He's basically caught up in upgrades at the same time, so it looks like we might just be in a pretty even late game at this point.
Oh boy, exactly. And GuMiho's going to need more time to work on his army. More importantly, to work on his Vikings. He's only making 2 at a time, so it's going to take a while for him to really contend against all these Colossus. Ooh, going for another double Doom Drop, though.
Yeah, but the other thing is his army's completely out of position at his 4th base, so Classic's going to come in at the same time. He's definitely going to kill this 4th base.
Mate.
As GuMiho's everywhere on the map, but so is Classic.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go. GuMiho is in the main. He's also pushing towards the 4th base, and Classic is going all in. We are going all the way into a base trade. Who is going to win? Who's going to come out on top out of this? I don't know, mate, but GuMiho did start first.
Yeah, and a bunch of the probes sneak out of the natural, so he will be able to make some extra buildings, but these probes are caught. Yeah, a lot of the probes are going to go down, but at least some of the probes from the natural will get out to the middle of the map, so he won't be eliminated here, but... Oh, and the Zealots find the hidden planetary. That's really nice.
Yeah, the Zealots are going to wreak havoc here at this hidden base. Meanwhile, it looks like every single building across the map is going to go down. There it is. Because the probes are able to sneak out, a Nexus is thrown down on GuMiho's side of the map.
Yeah, so it's going to be all about, can GuMiho eliminate all the buildings and then come and kill the Nexus, as Classic has enough money that he can make some extra buildings around the map, but I'm not sure whose army is stronger. I want to say GuMiho, honestly. He's still got 8 ghosts and he's got a ton of marauders.
Does have a ton of marauders, and Classic has a bunch of high-tech units. Like, he's got Colossus and he's got High Templar, but his Zealot count isn't that great, so he's not going to have the best buffer. Maybe he will. It's kind of hard to call depending on how he fights. I worry though, like, if Classic is going to go fight without his Colossus, I don't know about that, mate.
Yeah, and the other thing is, maybe he doesn't realize, maybe he just A-moved with his army and doesn't realize that the Colossus are stuck in the main. Because of course they'll just keep attacking. I think he realizes now.
Okay.
But yeah, if Classic had 3 disruptors with this as well, then I would say that he would have a huge advantage here. But since it's just Storm Colossus, I feel like if the EMPs land right, there's a huge concave for the Terran here. Huge EMPs over the whole army of Classic, but all the Storms are still active.
Yeah, exactly. The EMPs connected with the Gateway army, but not with the High Templar. Storms are landing on the army, but the Colossus are left exposed.
Yeah, and the Colossus are going to be microed back, so they're not going to go down. It looks like Classic will take the fight.
GG, well played. Classic, he does it. He was on the brink of defeat. He was losing mineral lines. He was dying to the Widow Mine drops horribly, but he was able to stabilize in the end with those storms, with those High Templar. And as we saw, GuMiho was maybe a little bit too trigger happy with his Doom drops, maybe throwing a little bit too much away early on.
Yeah, there was a point in that game where I think GuMiho had 180 supply and Classic was barely up to 120. And he didn't have his Colossus out. He had barely some High Templar, but he had no upgrades either versus 3-1 Bio. But he managed to claw his way back from a bit too aggressive from GuMiho.
Yeah. I was just so surprised when his Doom drops were failing, and then we looked back and it was like, his fourth phase is looking a little bit late. He hasn't been making that many SCVs. Like he was very committed with his aggression, and when they didn't deal damage, then he was giving Classic all these opportunities to come back.
Yeah, and I feel like even at the end it was pretty close. I feel like if some of those EMPs were a bit further back and it hit the High Templar and there was some kiting there, like the Colossus were still not really part of the fight until the end.
Yeah.
Like they weren't splashing over the units. Maybe GuMiho could have gotten some EMPs and kited back and started to trade well. But it just didn't line up that way. Oh, Chicken Man is playing.
Oh, let's go.
Let's go, Chicken Man random versus GuMiho.
Oh my god, Classic has decided to let the man of the chicken sub in for him here. Oh boy, I mean, we're gonna be remaking. Yeah. But yeah, damn, GG.
Yeah, you got to be feeling good as Classic after a mistake like that happens. GuMiho's flustered.
Yeah.
Oh wow, he doesn't even wait for anyone to say ready. Oh, I wonder what he's saying right now. I bet he's mad. Ooh.
Shiva. Tesagi.
Yeah. Oh, GuMiho just said sorry. Never mind.
Nah, he says sorry, but we know what he means. We
know. Yeah. Yeah, he hates Classic so much.
Oh god. I like to think that right now, because he is known as the Towel Terran, he's got a second towel now on top of his first one. He's like, okay, let's go. Sweating profusely. But here we go. We are diving in to game numero. To game number 4 here, as this player here was looking so good in our previous game, but it just barely slipped through his fingers. Representing Psy Storm Gaming, the Korean Terran, it is GuMiho.
And in the bottom left, making the most miraculous comeback, it is the Red Protoss from Alpha X Classic.
If only the positioning of those EMPs were a little bit better, a little bit more far back. As you said, the fight would have been completely different.
Yeah. Oh god, I just got a tiny bit of a lag spike. I hope that doesn't keep happening.
Oh god. Stay with me, Oreo. Stay with me.
And this is why I block Korea, honestly. It's just it really hates Australian players for some reason. Like the connection is just never stable. Oh well.
Yeah, we just need it to be stable enough. As this is potentially the final game of the series. Classic only needs one more to be our champion.
Yep. And 2000 Atmosphere is definitely, I think, a more even map in the matchup. I don't think either race has the advantage, so. But actually, GuMiho opening up with a 1-base build, which is very, very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. He is able to keep it hidden here from Classic's initial probe. And we'll see how much further he decides to stay on that 1 base, as the Reaper is moving out across the map. Got a second Reaper on the way behind this as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Classic is actually opening Adept. I think that the general consensus is you want to open Stalker against 1 base. just so you're safer against like the proxy marauder and stuff like that. But I think since Classic scouted everywhere, he knows it can't be anything like that.
Oh yeah, he's been, again, very vigilant with his probe. He was looking all over the place. Confirms that there is no proxy, at least not where he was scouting. And he is going to be okay for the time being.
Yeah, interesting that Classic chooses the Stargate here as the tech option. I think it's definitely the safest option versus one base builds. But yeah, 2 Reapers out for GuMiho now, so I wonder if Classic's going to be expecting like the kind of TvT opener that we sometimes see in this matchup as well, where a bunch of Reapers and Hellions are made, and the Terran player tries to get a lot of damage.
Yeah, if there's a wall on the low ground, they try and knock units out of the wall and just bust on in, get into a mineral line. So far, we'll see as they're headed towards that natural base, but the Adepts are in position.
Yeah, GuMiho's not going to get any damage here, and I mean, surely you have to favor Classic from the opening. Like, GuMiho's gotten no damage.
Yep, he even hasn't been able to scout yet. He hasn't seen the Stargate. He doesn't know if it's a Stargate or a Twilight Council opener coming out from his opponent. Still playing in the dark.
Yeah, and I think GuMiho might be going for a pretty committed attack here. I would expect him to drop the tank with his medevac that he's making and put on a lot of pressure, but Phoenix are ideal for defending this kind of push.
Yeah, I was about to say that unlike the previous Stargate games, Classic didn't waste any time making Oracles. He's been making nothing but Phoenixes. He's less concerned with dealing damage, more concerned with defending against any push, because he knows how later the natural base was. And as you said, mate, this is pretty ideal.
Yeah, I mean, like, the medevac's going to come in and it's just going to instantly die to the Phoenix. Of course, the Phoenix don't do bonus damage to the medevac, so it will be able to get all his units out, but they're actually out of position.
Oh yeah, the Phoenixes move out for a moment there, so the medevac is going to be able to get into the main base. Just barely, the Phoenixes will show up.
Oh, but they move past it, and the tank sets up in the mineral line, so it definitely the best case for GuMiho, as the tank is going to live. This is actually quite a lot of damage.
Yeah, exactly.
As the Reaper Hellion comes in.
Yeah, there's no mining happening whatsoever in the main base. At the same time, the Hellions are getting into the mineral line. They will be cleaned up, but again, no mining in the main.
Yeah, this is really good damage for GuMiho. What I thought was going to be quite rough if the Phoenix had patrolled there, as they will pick up the tank, and GuMiho's going to get cleaned up, but not before doing a ton of economic damage.
Yeah, exactly. There's a world here where it does 0 damage, right? Where Classic just runs into the medevac and that's it, it's over. But thankfully for GuMiho, Classic did move out a little bit too soon, a little bit prematurely, and he was able to get something done.
Yeah, and the Cyclone will see the 3rd base on the way, so GuMiho will know that he's going to be pretty safe here, but I feel like even though the opening might have favored Classic, I think that push brought GuMiho more than back into it.
Exactly. Oh my god, even some of these pieces getting caught out here by the Cyclones, being forced away. GuMiho is perfectly safe. He's got a 3rd base on the way as well. He's catching up in the workers. And we have a game on our hands.
Yeah, I like that GuMiho's taking the 3rd base and not just playing like 3 racks, because he's in such a good spot against Stargate. Why not just be a little bit greedier than normal? It's very difficult for Protoss to put on pressure when they've made this many Phoenixes and also taken damage, so he knows he's safe.
Exactly. Meanwhile, shout out to this Viking, by the way. This one Viking got 4 probe kills.
Yeah, Vikings do so much damage to probes. They 2-shot them. It's actually crazy.
Yeah, insane. Finally, that one lone Viking was cleaned up. Looks like GuMiho is going to try and find some damage here at the 3rd base, but there are plenty of Stalkers. There are some Phoenixes. There's a Shield Battery's about to finish up. We'll see if they can get some damage done. Link actually wasn't researched.
Yeah, and GuMiho has to be really careful here, because Phoenix do shred through Cyclones if they can get the pickups, but good control from GuMiho makes it so the Phoenixes can't get in range of the Cyclones, and yeah, it's still... GuMiho is definitely doing a lot with a little here. This army is pretty vulnerable if the Phoenix manage to jump on it. But as you said, there's no blink, so GuMiho is kind of free to do whatever he wants, as the Phoenixes do come in and lift the Cyclones, and this is what I was afraid of.
Yeah, they will clean everything up at the cost of 2 of those Phoenixes, so Classic does have a little bit less air presence. At the same time, another Viking gets into the main base, 2 more probes go down. God, this Viking harass.
Mate, why are people making libs? Like, Vikings are just better.
Yeah, why are people going for Widowmine drops? Mate, Viking drops. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't the worst for GuMiho there, trading the Cyclones out for the Phoenix. That's kind of what you want, since as we go into the mid-game, the Cyclones basically become bad Marines, honestly. They become more spotters for vision.
Exactly. So at least he's able to trade them out for something. I'm a little bit concerned for these tanks. We have 3 tanks out. Not a lot to defend them because the Marine count was almost reset earlier. And Classic, he's getting ready to move on forward. Charge is about to finish up. Okay, but he doesn't dive on it. He does go for it. He just tags and confirms the army.
Yeah. I feel like if Classic did have a few zealots there, he definitely could have made something happen. But yeah, the Robo is only halfway done. There's no prism, so not sure how committed Classic can get here.
Yeah, he does reinforce his army with a couple of zealots that he warped in back at home. But as you said, can he get something? Oh my god, never mind. He has a proxy pile and he's ready for it.
Yeah, and this starting to look super committed as a 4th base gets started. Classic's only on 4 gases here, so he's going to be able to make a ton of zealots.
Oh god, exactly. Immediately he gets on one of those tanks. Gonna be able to lift up the 2nd tank as well.
Yeah, and there's no combat shield here, so these Marines are evaporating to the Stalkers. A bunch of the zealots are stuck in the back, but I don't think it's going to matter as Classic is just crushing through with his Gateway army.
Yeah, there just wasn't enough to protect all of these tanks. Sure, there were 3-4 tanks, but nothing to protect them. GG gets called, and Classic takes the entire series, and he is our ESL Open Cup Asia champion.
Yeah, taking his first weekly EPT win. That's gotta feel good.
Oh yeah, his first win, bearing in mind his first win coming back from the military as well. He hasn't been back that long. It's been less than a year. It's been like 6 months, maybe a little bit less than 6 months. So really cool to see Classic here in form, taking it to GuMiho.
Yeah, but at the same time, GuMiho definitely showed that he is a super strong Terran because a lot of these games looked super close. None of them were very one-sided. In fact, like as we said before, one of them was very, very good for GuMiho. This game also looked very, very good. But maybe the fight with the Cyclones just was a bit too aggressive from GuMiho.
Yeah. Like as soon as that got cleaned up, like Classic was like, okay, let's go. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I just cleaned up so much of your army. I know you're not going to have that much at home to defend. Charge is about to finish up. I skipped Blink, which, you know, has its cons, but it also has its pros, right? He was able to prioritize that charge and take advantage of that and close that distance and get on top of those tanks.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I don't think that that those 3 Cyclones were very necessary to make. I feel like because Cyclones and tanks actually do take the same amount of time to make, exactly the same. So those 3 Cyclones could have easily been 3 tanks, and I feel like if there was 3 extra tanks there, there's no way that Classic can break him.
Yeah. So Classic identifying that, you know, because he saw those Cyclones and recognizing, hey, you know, your tank count can't be looking too high either. So very well executed there by Classic. And yeah, GG well played. Regardless of who won today, like I was happy to see either one of these players performing well, especially coming into the new year. You know, like it's a new year, new GSL season, maybe a new champion.
Maybe a new Katowice champion. Who can say?
Maybe. I mean,
Wait, is Classic in Katowice?
One of them is. It's either Hero or Classic. I know one of them is. I don't think both of them are.
I know Hero is, so it's not Classic then. Yeah, that's right. It's Hero and Creator are the Protosses in the round of 36.
Yeah.
I think.
Oof. But yeah, with that, GG, congratulations. Classic is definitely another one of those players that you want to be looking at. You know, Yaku and I, we were hyping up both Hero and Classic a lot last year. As soon as they came back from the military, it's like, I know that there's a lot of people complaining and worried about Protoss and the future of Protoss, especially in Korea, now that Zest is going and Stats has gone and SOS has gone. But it's like, hey, we're losing some, but we're gaining some as well. And both Hero and Classic have been looking so strong. It's been so impressive how much they've been able to improve in such a short time.
Yeah, they're really showing the power of the old guard. Like, age is really not that big of a deal when it comes to StarCraft, apparently, because they're definitely showing it to the young guys.
Yes. That famous MMA quote, what is it? Form is temporary, class is permanent. So they just need a little bit of time to get back into the new meta, and it's very important to keep an eye on them. Obviously, Classic won't be in Katowice, you know, that's where we'll see some of these other players, but GSL, keep an eye on him. On GuMiho as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And with that, I would like to thank you, Oreo. Thank you so much for joining me today. Not just for joining, but also playing as well. It's been great to see you a little bit more active in these ESL Open Cups, and it's cool to see you improve every time as a player. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, last week I had also very close games against Australia, so it's only a matter of time before I start, taking games from the top guys. I think.
Yes, I believe. Oh god, again, it's the year is still young, and you have plenty of time to get into things as the EPT season is on the horizon. Still a ways away, but it's going to be upon us shortly. The other big thing, which was already announced, we didn't reveal which casters we're going to have, but the CranKy Ducklings, we are going to be the C stream for Katowice. For the first day of Katowice, the round of 36. And Oreo, if you haven't forgotten, you're gonna be joining me for that, right?
I know. I'm gonna be casting Katowice, which is pretty exciting. Definitely.
Oh yeah. It's not the first time the CranKy Ducklings have casted Katowice. We've done it in the years past, but it's great to be coming back once again to be a part of the casting team. And thank you so much, Oreo, for joining me for that as well. Usually it's myself and Yaku, but of course Yaku has been very, very busy recently with his studies. He's been drowning in work, in exams. He's hopefully he's okay.
Yeah. Sorry for that message he sent you.
Oh god, that wasn't even all of it, mate. That was.
Yeah.
There was a lot of screaming. But yeah, thanks for joining me thank you for joining me for that as well. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yep, for sure. I'm so excited for Katowice. You have no idea. Like, it's amazing hearing. I feel like every player in it has been grinding so hard lately. Like, and they're all saying that they've never felt stronger. So it's gonna be such an exciting tournament, and I have no idea who's gonna take it.
Yeah, exactly. On top of all of that, Apollo, I think it was yesterday, he announced that StarCraft was going to have one extra day of live events where they were going to play with a stage. So there's an extra day on top of that. I think they were just reserving it for the playoffs, but now they extended it to a day of the round of 24 or something like that. So that's even more hype for all the players, and I know they get a lot of energy from the crowd and from being on that stage, being in that with like cameras on them and lights and stuff like that. Just adds an extra layer of excitement and tension, and it's gonna be great to have offline StarCraft again.
Yeah, it's gonna be so weird to see like a crowd at a StarCraft event.
Yeah,
it's been so long. And to not see the players playing in their bedrooms, but playing like on a stage.
Mate, the Chad player. I don't know who's gonna do it. Someone's gonna rock up in like pajamas or something. Like, with like I don't know if you remember this or if you were around, but fun fact: MMA. Whenever he got into a booth, I remember for BlizzCon, he was playing in slippers. Like, he would take his shoes off, and when he played, he would put on his slippers, just to be
nice,
as comfortable as possible.
I know that there's a few players that take their shoes off when they play. Special, I know, does in GSL. He always takes his shoes off because I guess that's what he's used to.
Yeah,
I think it's actually pretty common among players.
Yeah. Like, you want to be in the zone, and you don't want anything to bother you.
Yeah, you want to have the exact same situation as when you're at home.
Yeah. The funny part about that, though, is that I'll always remember it was MMA. He won the semifinals. I think it was against Classic, and when he won, he was so excited. He's like, "Yes, let's go!" And before he ran out, he had to quickly put his shoes on. He was like, "Oh, hold on,
nice.
Put on my shoes." Then he ran out to the crowd.
At least he didn't run out with his slippers on.
That would have been amazing. Oh god. But yeah, it's gonna be some exciting times this coming week. I am fully prepared to absolutely ruin my sleep schedule and watch IEM. It's gonna be awful.
It's gonna be terrible. Yeah. I'm just so glad that I don't have uni the next day. That's a very lucky coincidence. It's actually good that the Sparkling Tuna Cup is on a Wednesday night, because I never have uni on Thursday mornings or anything like that, so I have no excuse.
What about last week, man?
Not that I want an excuse. Well, okay. That was a rare case. Let's say that.
Okay. For those wondering, yes, our broadcast is going to be Wednesday nights. Typically, Sparkling Tuna Cup would kind of clash into it, but because of that, we are moving Sparkling Tuna Cup to Tuesday instead of Wednesday, so we don't have any kind of conflicting schedules or anything going on. So next week, Sparkling Tuna Cup will be a day earlier, and we will reward you for that with I Am Katowice.
Yeah. So, are we just covering? Are we only covering the round of 36, and then we're done?
I'm gonna have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
I expect they said expect a 5-hour broadcast. 5-hour broadcast. So
yeah.
It's gonna be a full day of StarCraft. We're only doing day 1. After that, you know, they have other casters to continue on for the B stream and stuff. They announced they have like Cats and Petit Drogo and Steadfast and Biomorph as well. So, you know, there are going to be other casters covering other games that are going on. But yeah, we'll be there for day one.
Yeah, and I will definitely try and have a good webcam by then. I'll probably set up something with my phone so that it's more consistent.
I also recommend having a nap during the day to kind of reset your sleep schedule a little bit. Maybe have some tea or coffee or some energy drink on the side just in case.
Yeah. That thing is, I think I'm at uni all day on Wednesday for like 6 hours.
Oh, no.
So...
We may have...
Oh, wait. I'm actually okay.
Okay?
But I have to wake up at 6 a.m. on Wednesday. So that's not okay, but...
Yeah. I recommend napping beforehand. That's the best option. Something. Yeah. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope we see everyone in the chat there as well. And thank you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today, for tuning into the broadcast. Oh, we will see you guys next week. But before that, Oreo, why don't you tell the people where can they find more of you?
Oh, you can follow me on Twitter at Oreo StarCraft. I also have a YouTube channel. I think it's just called Oreo. I've just started uploading ZVT guides, so you can check those out. And I also stream on Twitch at Oreo_SC. So.
When's the next stream?
I might not be able to stream too much now that I'm focusing on the YouTube stuff as well, now that Uni's starting up, but I'll do my best. Yeah, I'll do my best.
That's fair. Once a week, maybe. We'll see.
Maybe.
Oh, God. But yeah, check out Oreo. He's a great player. He's producing a lot of content on his YouTube channel, so be sure to check him out there if you're interested in some Zerg analysis or some Zerg perspective on some StarCraft, on some StarCraft matchups. Otherwise, you can follow me at light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter. I do stream throughout the week. Been streaming some ladder sessions, been streaming some Yu-Gi-Oh!, some Final Fantasy 14, and some other shenanigans with some of the other CranKy Ducklings. Some team games sprinkled in as well. So if you're interested in less professional StarCraft and more, variety streamer, then you can follow me there. Maybe Oreo will make an appearance. Maybe I'll drag him into a team game. I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe.
We'll see. But thank you, everyone, for watching. We appreciate the support. You can follow us on the CranKy Ducklings, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Discord. We are all over the place on the CranKy Ducklings, so you can follow us there for when we go live. And we will see you in a couple of days for Sparkling Tuna Cup.
Yeah.
Ciao.